week on Africa Weekly. We take you to Ghana's Atewa Range Forest Reserve, renowned for its world-leading biodiversity, but believed to be under threat due to the presence of bauxite beneath the soil. And we travel to Burkina Faso to meet one of the strongest men in the world, Iron Bibi, who says he wants to inspire young people in his home country to follow their athletic dreams. But first, a summary of the stories that made the headlines this week. At least 30 people drowned in Uganda and more than 60 were feared dead after a pleasure boat sank in Lake Victoria on Sunday, including the boat's owner and his wife. Witnesses claimed the vessel may have been rushed back into service following a renovation in order to take advantage of the profitable end-of-year party season. Boat rides with drinking, dancing and music are popular on the lake. The boat, with nearly 100 revelers on board, sank in bad weather on Saturday in the latest deadly incident to affect passenger vessels on Africa's largest lake. Police said overloading and bad weather were likely to blame. Madagascar's top court announced on Wednesday that the country's two former presidents, Andry Rajoelina and Marc Ravalomanana, will face each other in a runoff election next month. The runoff comes after neither candidate won the 50% of votes required for a first-round victory on November 7th. Due on December 19th, it will be the first time the bitter rivals have faced each other at the ballot box. Both Ravalomanana and Rajoelina were banned from running in the last election in 2013 under international pressure to avoid a repeat of deadly political violence that engulfed the island in 2009, when Ravalomanana was ousted in a military-backed coup that installed Rajoelina, who was in power until 2014. Tens of thousands of supporters turned out to welcome Congolese opposition scion Felix Tshisekedi on Tuesday as he returned to Kinshasa to kick off his campaign to replace President Joseph Kabila in next month's presidential election. Tshisekedi vowed to deploy observers to combat election fraud, while his running mate Vital Kamerhe, a former parliamentary speaker who returned home with him, said the pair made a winning ticket.
But we all have the same objective, to bring a change on the 23rd of December 2018. We are tired of seeing our people suffer.
The pair will run on a joint ticket in the December 23rd vote, which, if successful, will see Tshisekedi become president and Kamerhe appointed as his prime minister. Several thousand anti-government demonstrators marched through the capital of Zimbabwe on Thursday in the first rally since a deadly crackdown on an election protest in August. The event was organized by the main opposition MDC party, whose leader, Nelson Chamisa, maintains that he was cheated of victory in the July 30th election.
We are not agreed on the president. There's a crisis of legitimacy. Mr. Mnangagwa, yes, was confirmed by the Constitutional Court. But we still have to resolve from a legitimate point of view the contestation around who was voted by the people.
And staying in Zimbabwe, it's been a year since Robert Mugabe was ousted from power, and the former Zimbabwean leader is unable to walk due to ill health and old age. 94-year-old Mugabe, who was ousted in a military intervention to end his 37-year grip on power, has been in Singapore for medical care. 7 civilians were killed and 5 were wounded in Somalia on Monday when a car bomb detonated at a busy market in the capital Mogadishu. The explosion occurred after security forces stopped a suspicious vehicle at the market in the south of the city. There was no immediate claim of responsibility for the attack, but suspicion will fall on Somalia's Al-Qaeda affiliate, the Shabab, which is fighting to overthrow the internationally backed government and carries out regular bombings and armed assaults on government, military and civilian targets. And on the same day in the central Somali town of Galkayo, at least 15 people were killed and 10 others wounded when Shabab militants attacked a Sufi religious centre. The attack on the residential compound and shrine, home to a controversial Sufi cleric and his followers, took place early that day while residents were still asleep. Around 100 Tunisians protested in the capital Tunis on Monday, ahead of the planned visit by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Crown Prince was visiting Tunisia as part of his first foreign tour since the killing of Saudi journalist and critic Jamal Khashoggi sparked a global outcry. The demonstrations were called by the Journalists' Union and several NGOs and civil society organizations who condemned the kingdom's human rights record.
We can't accept a person who doesn't believe in women's rights or freedom of expression, who doesn't believe in anything. We simply can't welcome him here in Tunisia.
Saudi Arabia has been put under intense international pressure over the murder of Khashoggi in the kingdom's consulate in Istanbul, but has denied the country's powerful crown prince was involved.
The Atewa Range Forest Reserve is home to some of the world's most critically endangered animals. But under the ground are also large reserves of bauxite, the mineral that makes the earth red and which is a key ingredient in making aluminium. Ghana's government has signed a multi-billion-dollar deal with China to allow them to mine bauxite in exchange for vital infrastructure projects. The land around the reserve has previously been affected by illegal gold mining.
We are going in for big trouble because the way bauxite mining is done is not like gold where you can take out the sand, put it somewhere and then fill it back. You're actually taking away the whole soil, and with it you have to clear the forest to be able to get to that.
Environmentalists say any pollution of the three rivers that have their source in the forest could affect millions of people downstream, including in the capital, Accra.
Being a national park and then establishing tourism activities here would help us better than the bauxite mines.
Aluminium ore prospectors first came to the area more than a decade ago. Samples from their drilling have been abandoned. Some say investors pulled out because mining would have been too controversial. Others say it's needed to bring about greater prosperity.
There's no job, so we want bauxite mining to come. Morally, we want it to come so that our people get a job to do.
Ghana's President Nana Akufo-Addo is from the main town of Kiebi, on the eastern slopes of the forest. He's promoting rural development, but there's a growing campaign to stop him achieving it at the expense of the environment he's vowed to protect.
At 1.90 meters tall and weighing 180 kilos, Sheikh Ahmed Al Hassan Sanu, or Iron Bibi, is one of the strongest athletes in the world. He hails from Bobo Dioulasso in western Burkina Faso.
Currently, I am recognized as one of the strongest when it comes to shoulder strength, and it's hard for someone to top me in this challenge.
Crowned world champion of the log lift after lifting 213 kilos with his shoulders, Iron Bibi's bulky build has not always been easy to live with, especially as a young boy.
Very often kids of his build are violent. They beat up other children. But he, on the contrary, is very kind, very sweet, so children often made fun of him.
Today, Iron Bibi is inspiring other young people to pursue their athletic dreams.
I love Iron Bibi because he's strong and kind. I would like to follow his example.
On his return to Burkina Faso from international competitions, the athlete is given a hero's welcome. Now the strongman wants to use his influence for good in his home country.
My main project in Burkina Faso is to create a sports center for all athletes, not just in my field and not just in Bobo Dioulasso, everywhere in Burkina Faso, and also to develop dietary supplements because there is a lack of protein here.
Iron Bibi's next heavy lifting challenge is not one to be taken lightly. He aims to smash the world record for the log lift, a whopping 228-kilo test.
The 5th edition of the Afrima, the All Africa Music Awards, Africa's equivalent of the Grammys, took place in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, on Saturday. In 5 years, Afrima has managed to carve out a space as a platform to showcase the bubbling, innovative and prolific African music industry that has exploded in the past decade. That's all from us at Africa Weekly. Until next week.